to you by Patriot Mobile, the phone service of America's Freedom Tribute. Use the code AFT for your first month free. Welcome to Let's Talk About Veterans. I'm your host, Dorina Federici. Every name has a story. Every uniform represents a life of service. Every sacrifice deserves to be remembered. On this podcast, we honor the brave men and women who have answered the call to serve our nation and our communities, from America's veterans and first responders to the courageous Vietnam nurses and the trailblazing women of our military. We share the stories that shaped history and the heroes whose legacies continue to inspire us today. Together we'll remember their courage, celebrate their service, and ensure that their sacrifices are never forgotten. Whether they served on the battlefield, in a hospital tent, behind the badge, or on the front lines here at home, their commitment to others is a legacy worth preserving. Thank you for joining me as we pay tribute to those who gave so much for all of us. This is Let's Talk About Veterans, where we remember, we honor, and we never forget. Today's going to be completely a little different. You know Sandy's always here with me. Usually she's behind, but she's going to speak at the same time. We're going to kind of talk back and forth. And we're going to talk about what was it like to bring this tribute, the America's Freedom Tribute, here to Wethersfield from Thursday to yesterday, and what it meant to both of us and things that we saw. So Sandy, welcome.
Thank you, Dorina. Hi, everybody.
Yeah, and there was one thing that I just want to bring this up first in case I forget. We had a book that they can ask us to find the names. We also have an app on our phones, but I looked on the book. They were looking for his childhood friend that he went to school with who died in Vietnam. We went over to see the young man on the wall, and the gentleman was telling me all about his friend. He says he was so kind, he was so good, and boy, did he have a smile. He had such a beautiful smile. And I looked at him, I says, would you like to come over? I'll grab my phone, and on my app, I can bring it up, and you can see his face. He goes, sure, sure. So I got over to my phone before he could get near me. I looked up the gentleman, the young man's name, and there was his face just popped up right away, and I started to cry because I saw the smile he was talking about. So he finally gets over to me, and I enlarge it on my phone, and I say, is this him? He goes, it is. And then I cried again, and I said, you were right. He has a beautiful smile. And you know what? This is what this is about. This is the beauty of bringing things to veterans. Sandy, what did you think about a lot of stuff that was going on? What was something that stood out?
All the visitors that came, you think that they're just going to walk through and, oh, okay, yeah, this is great.
Right.
But they stop and they read every panel.
Right.
They look at the photos. And they stop and talk to the volunteers and tell them how important and how meaningful it was. Maybe they learned something new that day.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Maybe, for some of the older residents, they were able to see someone that they knew if they were around in the Vietnam era. It was just
right.
So meaningful for the visitors.
Right.
And we had, on Saturday, the town actually had another event in the same area as the tribute. And it drew those people in there too.
Right.
And they were so touched by what was going on and our ceremonies that we had. And of course, the Connecticut Bells really pulled people in.
Right. For those of you that don't know who the Connecticut Bells are, they're from Connecticut, of course, but they sing Andrews Sisters, patriotic songs, big band songs, things that you may have heard during World War II. And it was just great. I mean, I was sitting in my seat, but I really wanted to get up and dance. But you're right. The singing brought people in off the streets. They came running in. And the same thing happened when the Governor's Foot Guard played. Brought people in. People came with their chairs to listen to them. And it's just such a great community together for veterans.
Absolutely. I think the next time the wall comes, we need to tell people to picnic.
Yeah.
Come and picnic during the band shows.
Right. Right.
Because it's a lot of fun, and
right.
people just come as they're shopping
Right. Yeah.
And they can stop and relax.
Right. They can get something in one of the places there in Wethersfield or somewhere else, bring food, sit down, relax. And what I loved about this, it wasn't the 360-foot Vietnam Wall that we had last year in September, but what I liked about this is that it was all colored panels, which is brand new. But the visuals that you get from this, now it's not just Vietnam. Yes, we have Vietnam scenes. There was even the tiger cages. And for those of you that don't know what that is, that's where some of the prisoners were kept. And you only could sit. You couldn't lay, you couldn't stand, you couldn't do anything. Only thing the prisoners could do was sit in it. So there was a visual of that. And you can hear about it, but until you see what they actually look like, it just blows your mind to know that is where our prisoners were kept. And then the visuals of the other conflicts we had. And even 9/11, it went down to almost like a family tree, how it pulled, like what company or what, like it said, like FBI, this many people. It's like a family tree just tracking it, and it just broke everything down and who was there. So it was just really nice. And then it broke down of the people that died when it happened, how many of them got sick afterwards, and it broke that all down. How did it happen? You know, how many per, like every 10 years or something. Just beautiful visuals, and that's what people were really taking in, I thought, looking at it, and so was I. And I didn't have time to look at all of them, but every time I went by one, it's like, wow, look at this, and kids were even looking at it.
We had a lot of kids come with their parents.
Right.
So it was nice during summer vacation. They have less going on.
Right.
They could come and look. The kids, they couldn't take their eyes off of it.
Right.
They like the visuals.
Right. Right.
But I still think, even though the wall is smaller than what we had last year, the kids come up to the wall and you have to go so close to read the names.
Right.
And then they look down to see how long, how many panels.
Right.
And I think it hits home. It gives them a sense of how many people made the ultimate sacrifice.
Right.
For our freedom. And then they come and they go to 9/11 and the Global War on Terror panels.
Right.
And it's the same thing. It shows them how many people made that sacrifice.
Right. Yeah. And I heard even a few kids telling their parents, look at all the names, look at all the names. So, like I said, it made a big impact. And what I also love, like I said, it's not just Vietnam. It's all conflicts. So we're honoring everybody. And we're not just Americans that fought. There were people from all nationalities that fought in all these wars. And we're honoring everybody. It's not just Wethersfield or Connecticut. We are honoring everybody. Everybody in the United States, we're honoring them all, male, female. And that's what I love about it, because I had people who wanted to see information on World War II, because the grandfather, or Korea. And again, and when you say where were they from, rarely was it from Connecticut.
That's right.
Rarely.
Yes, I have friends and family who were in the military. They're not from Connecticut.
Right.
But I live here in Wethersfield.
Right.
And I want to be able to honor all the veterans that I know.
Right. Exactly. And that's the whole thing, is that, you know, bringing people from other places. Like Beverly is next. They're one of my sponsors now. So they're having the large wall. I'm going to Beverly. It's 2.5 hours away. I threw it out there to everybody in Massachusetts when I did the public releases to everybody, because it's like you don't know where people are going to come from. We're so close to Massachusetts. Why not go up there if you want to see the big wall? Excuse me. So you want to bring people in from all over the place. It's a huge history lesson. Huge history lesson for people. What was really strange last night, I went home, and I'm not supposed to talk about it because I'm on like one of those things where you screen movies that are going to come out. Anyways, it ended up being a war movie. It was a true story, but it had to do about the Battle of, and I hope I say this right, Tarawa. I knew there was a battle of that, but I never knew it was that bad. And I'm watching it, and the first thing it made me want to do was get on the internet and learn more about it. And that's what that wall and all of those panels, that's what they do. They make you want to go and research and learn more. And that's what happened to me last year. Learn more, because I felt like I didn't know enough of what went on in our country. So that just reminded me that's what this is about, learning more and never forgetting and passing it on to the younger generation so they don't. So if you have this, people come, they come at, remember my grandkids were there helping, taking it down, right? They're not going to forget they helped with all that.
Nope, not
So,
at all.
and the Boy Scouts, how amazing are they? Troop 85.
They did so much. The flags, people, everybody took a picture of Main Street with all the flags.
Right.
Everybody.
Right.
What are the flags doing? Why are there flags?
Yeah.
Oh, come look.
Right.
Look at the wall.
It brought them there too from far away. It's like, wow, look at all these flags,
It
you
did.
know.
When I came up Main Street, after everything was set up on Thursday, I had tears in my eyes when I saw all the flags. I'm like, the Boy Scouts already.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Right. And you know, that's the thing, to be able to see an American flag and feel so proud that it does bring tears to your eyes. It's time we need to do that. We need to start being proud of our country, proud of our flag. No matter what's going on, always be proud of our country, be proud of our flag, be proud of our veterans, of the future veterans to come. I had two young men came up to me, they were brothers, and it was really strange. It's like, I guess I looked grandmother, motherly type or something, and they're like, they both want to go into, they wanted to do the military, but I think for some whatever reasons, they weren't going to be accepted for military, so they want to go into the police, the first responders, and they said, my mom really doesn't want us to do this. How do we handle this? And I says, well, do you really want to do this? And they said, yes. I says, is it in your heart? They said, yes, this is what we want to do. I says, well, it's in your heart, follow it. But remember, she's your mom. She's always going to be worried about you. You know, no matter what, she's always going to be worried. But you know what? I'm proud of you, and I'm sure she's even more proud than I am. I says, just remember, she's your mom. There's going to be times she's not going to be happy with what you're doing, but doesn't matter how old you are, you're her babies. So just talk to her, all right? It doesn't matter.
You have to talk to mom. Sometimes it takes a little while.
Yeah, it does. It does. And they're like, thank you, ma'am. I'm like, oh gosh, I got him another ma'am.
That is true. You're pulling in a lot of veterans, so
Yeah.
we're all sir, ma'am.
Right, exactly. That's what I told them. First thing when they said, hello, ma'am, I'm like, are you in the military? They said, my father was a Marine. And I'm like, that's where you get the ma'am from. I says, you've been raised, yeah. It was just too funny. But yeah, it was wonderful to hear them and just them having confidence to just ask a question like that. You know, how do we handle that? So hopefully if their mother sees this, she'll say, so you're the one who told them to do that.
I don't want you to get in trouble with her.
Right.
Speaking of first responders, that ceremony Thursday night, that was amazing.
Yeah. I was so afraid that only two, I said, you have to bring all your people with you, all of them, because they didn't know I had the special plaques for them. And I didn't want to just give it to the chiefs. You know, it's like, no, I need everybody
It's
there.
For everybody.
Right, it's for everybody. So the police chief is like, we're all going to come there, but the ones that have to run out if something happens are going to be right there. And I'm like, that's fine. I said, that's okay. And the fire came in a huge amount of people came, of the volunteer fire personnel came. And then seeing the families. So Bobby Garton was there. His brother Will spoke, which was very touching. And then the fire department talked about, I don't remember their first name, but the one that died, I think like in 1920 something was Wells. And then I think it was Mealy or Mel. I think that's how you say it, Mealy. I think he was in the 60s. And then, of course, Sharkovich. That happened a couple years ago. Talking about them and then having the Sharkovich family there, too, was an honor to have.
Oh, it was great to have family members come and talk about their loved ones.
Yeah, because we hear about things, but let's get to know who they were. Who were they? What did they do? So it's always nice, just like we did with the nurses. Who were they? But it was very nice, and I think I blew the fire chief's mind when I gave him a plaque, because They had no idea why I kept saying, make sure you're all there, make sure you're all there, you know?
And it's a great reminder for
Yeah.
citizens to understand what a sacrifice it is to be a first responder.
Exactly.
As we always say, we all run away from danger, and they run right to
for
it.
Exactly. And they do. And it was to have you set the table. For those of you that know, there's that MIA table where you have the plate and the salt and the lemon and all of that. Well, we did one for first responders too. And we were, it was really nice. We had the fireman's jacket, the boots, the helmet. We had the hat for the police. And then we had Bobby Garton's lawn sign, and we had Sharkovich's lawn sign right by the other chair. And it was nice to have a former police officer, Tom Pentelow, start that poem. And then he brought Rich Bailey in, who was a former, I think, fire chief. And I forgot. Oh, and then a friend of his, I think it was Brian DiCiaccio, or I think that's his last name, there, Brian, to also speak. So they each took a piece of it, and it was so nice because they did it all together, you know.
It's nice. And again, it's another visual. The kids come up, they are interested. Why is there a table?
Mm-hmm.
What's going on? And there's the sign.
Right.
So you do have, for the first responder table, we had Sharky and Bobby Garton's signs up, but we also had the meaning of everything on the table.
The poem.
Yep.
Right.
So just it's all about showing you what first responders and the veterans have sacrificed for us,
right.
for Wethersfield citizens, for American citizens.
Right.
So it's extremely meaningful, and I think especially for the younger generation, because you're showing it instead of telling them.
Right.
They don't have to watch a 2-hour-long movie. They
Right.
don't have to sit in the classroom and listen to a lecture. They can see it and understand it. And like you said, it's just the beginning of the education. Now they're asking questions. Now they're going on the internet to find out more.
Right.
It is. It's just the beginning.
Right.
It's the tip of the iceberg.
Exactly. And how nice it would be for that to be a place where schools go on field trips. Go there, take them on a field trip. What a great history lesson this could be, for the schools, for the students to see it, to visual all that. I know in September last year when the kids came, we gave them, here's a name, here's where it is, see if you could find it. And they went and they found it. To teach them, it's more than just a wall with names. This is what people are looking for. And they were so excited to be able to find the names on the wall, get them involved on doing these. And again, this tribute, having those visuals, I think you can really I think they'll just soak it all up seeing those visuals on there.
It's extremely meaningful.
Yeah.
So every time I went by the tiger cage, I'd close my eyes.
Yeah.
I don't like it at all. Because again, it shows you.
Right.
And it's just horrifying.
Right.
And the same thing with the 9/11 tribute and the pictures.
Right.
It's just, I always tell my husband, I'm like, too soon.
Yeah.
It's too, I don't know when that will change. But, I can go and read the names. I just can't look at the pictures.
Right. Right.
It is. It's
exactly.
Very powerful.
It is. It is powerful. And unfortunately, these are all conflicts or things like 9/11 that this generation is going to forget. That younger generation is not going to know this. They're not going to remember it. I'm sorry, but I would bet that the majority of schools, I'm not saying Wethersfield so much, but schools do not even talk about it. Wow. Talk about it, and this is a way to show it. So my whole thing is don't let people forget, because once they forget, there's nobody to bring it back up again. It's just like when our parents leave us, right? They pass away, and now you want to ask them a question because they're the only ones who are going to know this, and it's like, even if it was a recipe, I forgot how to make this Italian thing, and it's like, there's no one to ask. So we're going to forget that. That generation is going to be leaving us, and we're not going to remember. And that's sad. And that's sad. We need to remember, and that's why honoring, and those of you who weren't there, Sandy was part of it. I was, and there were more of us that did the reading of the 8 women on the wall, and we read them as if we were them, just to give it more power, more meaning, not just let's read their bio. It was, I am, and that's who we took on that role, and we told about our lives, what went on in Vietnam, how and when, the date we died in Vietnam, and then coming down to you will find me and telling you what panel you will find my name. So I think that's a good way to make things powerful, hearing the person, almost hearing that person telling you their story.
There was, how many of us read? 5?
5 of us read.
And I think each of us had to...
We had a hard time. Yeah.
Couldn't do it without choking up.
Right.
Had to take a few seconds, get ourselves
back on.
It was tough.
It was really tough, especially when you hear, you know, a bridal gown was sent to her in Vietnam because she was going to marry a soldier or an officer, whatever, in Vietnam. And they sent her the wedding gown, but she never got to get married. And then there was the other one that the wedding gown was at home, along with the bridesmaids' dresses were bought already, and she didn't make it home. You know.
It was so sad.
Right. And they didn't have to go. They were nurses. They volunteered to go. That's the whole thing. They volunteered.
Yeah. All the women that went to Vietnam were volunteers.
Right. They were volunteers.
Correct. Did it.
Right.
Made that sacrifice for the soldiers.
Right.
For their fellow Americans.
Right. Right. And they did that. And then, you know, we also honored Rosie the Riveter as one of them, only because of World War II, they held down the fort while their husbands, brothers, fathers were at war. Well, someone needed to be in the doing the welding, building the ships, the guns, things like that. Someone had to do it, so the women went and did it.
They didn't know anything about that.
They had no idea.
Right?
No idea.
They just had to step in and keep that
going.
factory
running.
producing.
Or we wouldn't have had anything.
Yes.
The troops would have had nothing over there.
Right. Again, sacrifice for their fellow Americans.
Right.
And the donut dollies too.
Absolutely.
Volunteered to go to Vietnam, put themselves in harm's way to try to bring
a little bit of
joy.
hope. Exactly. A little bit of home, whatever.
Maybe some entertainment so those guys fighting in Vietnam could forget for half a second the horrors that they were seeing.
Right. Yeah. It's very powerful, and that's why we do this, right, Sandy? That's why we bring this here. And we learn every time. It's been here twice, so we just keep learning.
Like we learned about the nurses honor guard here in Connecticut.
Right.
Yeah.
They were amazing. They were amazing.
I was a mess. I was just the tears. I couldn't stop.
Yeah. They do such a great job, and what they do, they honor all nurses, not just military, all nurses that have passed away. They go to the funeral homes if they've been asked to go, and they perform this ceremony. It's a Nightingale tribute. They will mention the nurse's name and how they helped someone. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful poem. And at the very end, they'll say, "We now release you," and then they hit the chime. When you hear that, it's just like goosebump time. Goosebump time.
Or in my case, tears.
Oh yeah, definitely. They were wonderful, wonderful women. And they are all nurses. They could be retired nurses, currently still working nurses, but they are all nurses. And if you're from another state, check your state. This is the Connecticut one, but they have them all over the place. And if you're a nurse, join them.
And this is such an important event that they, I think, 6 or 7 of these nurses volunteered their time to come and release the 8 Vietnam nurses from their duty in a proper manner.
In a proper manner,
and
exactly.
There was more wanted to come, but they needed to go to the other funerals around the state.
That were going on, exactly.
I mean, this is something very important to the nurses.
Right. Right. And then we had in the audience, or whatever you want to call it, we had Joanne was there, and she is a nurse. And then we had Jennifer there, and she's a Vietnam nurse. And at one point, they say, if there's any nurses out there, please join us. And they went up and they went there, and then they hug each other and they're crying because it was very emotional for them. And we were able to honor them at the same time.
Yes.
You know.
And Vietnam veteran Rick Newell
Yep.
read his poem that he wrote thanking combat nurses.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So if you weren't there, I'm sorry, you missed out on something. But believe me, something will be coming back. There'll be another time for you to see all this, pay your respects. We have fantastic ideas to make sure when we do have something like this that we continue to honor, continue to teach, do all that. So as we close today's episode, I want to leave you with this mission that is closest to my heart. My goal is to remember every veteran, every man and every woman from every state, every city, every town, and every conflict. I want to honor not only those who fought on the front lines, but also those who volunteered to serve, who cared for the wounded, supported the mission, and answered the call in countless ways. I also want to remember our courageous first responders, including the heroes of September 11th, whose sacrifice and dedication continue to inspire us every day. History lives only as long as we are willing to tell its stories. If we stop talking about every veteran, every first responder, and every conflict, then their sacrifices risk being forgotten. So let's keep their stories alive. Let's teach the next generation. Let's remember their names, honor their service, and preserve their legacy. I want to thank you for listening to Let's Talk About Veterans, and I'm your host, Dorina Federici. Until next time, keep remembering, keep honoring, and never let their stories die. Because when we remember everyone, we ensure that no one is ever forgotten. And please keep our troops and their families safe. Pray for them. Let's get them all home. Thank you.